November 7th, a date that has witnessed America making fateful choices with consequences that would ripple for generations. It's a day when neutrality led to war, when an election was decided by a few hundred votes, and when a foreign policy doctrine created a global crisis. What's the common thread? A failure to see the long-term impact of today's decisions. This is the story of America's greatest mistakes on November 7th. History often turns on small decisions, a campaign slogan, a Supreme Court ruling, a foreign policy doctrine. What seems like a good idea in the moment can unravel in ways no one could predict. On this November 7th, we're examining three critical errors. A president who won re-election on a promise he couldn't keep, a foreign policy stance that nearly caused nuclear war, and an election that hinged on a few hundred votes. Let's begin with the slogan that dragged America into war. Mistake number 1. He kept us out of war. Wilson's broken promise, 1916. It's 1916. World War I is raging in Europe, and American President Woodrow Wilson is running for re-election on a powerful, popular platform: peace. The context: Wilson's entire re-election campaign was built around keeping America neutral and out of the bloody conflict overseas. This message resonated deeply with an American public wary of foreign entanglements. The November 7th victory. On November 7th, 1916, Woodrow Wilson won a narrow re-election victory, largely thanks to the slogan, "He kept us out of war." The mistake: this campaign promise became a trap. Just 5 months after his inauguration, Wilson asked Congress to declare war on Germany, leading the United States into World War I. The very slogan that won him the election made his subsequent decision look like a profound betrayal to many Americans. The consequence: the U.S. entry into World War I led to over 116,000 American deaths and transformed the nation's role in the world. Wilson's broken campaign promise created deep public cynicism about political slogans and government honesty. It established a pattern that would repeat throughout American history: campaigning on peace while preparing for war. The lesson: making absolute promises about complex international situations can backfire spectacularly, undermining public trust when circumstances inevitably change. Mistake number 2. The Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, escalating Vietnam, 1967. From one war promise to another, 50 years later, when another president was making fateful decisions about Vietnam. The context: by late 1967, the Vietnam War was deeply unpopular, and President Lyndon B. Johnson was facing growing opposition both in Congress and among the American public. The November 7th speech. On November 7th, 1967, Johnson gave a major speech defending his Vietnam policy, insisting that America was making progress and that withdrawal was not an option. The mistake: this was a critical miscalculation. Johnson doubled down on a failing strategy, ignoring the reality on the ground in Vietnam and the growing anti-war movement at home. His refusal to change course would ultimately destroy his presidency. The consequence: just months later, the Tet Offensive would expose the administration's optimistic claims as false. The war would continue for 7 more bloody years, and Johnson would shock the nation by announcing he wouldn't seek re-election. This November 7th speech represented the point of no return, when the administration's commitment to saving face outweighed its commitment to finding an honest solution. The lesson: refusing to acknowledge policy failures and adjust course can turn a difficult situation into an unwinnable disaster. Conclusion: so what connects a broken campaign promise, a failed war strategy, and a disputed election? They all represent moments when American leaders made choices based on short-term thinking rather than long-term consequences. Wilson's slogan won an election but cost him public trust. Johnson's speech temporarily defended his policy but destroyed his presidency. Sometimes the most popular decision in the moment proves to be the most disastrous in hindsight. November 7th teaches us that in politics and governance, we must be wary of easy answers and absolute promises. The most dangerous mistakes are often dressed up as solutions. Which of these political miscalculations do you think was most avoidable? Let me know in the comments. If you believe in learning from history's errors, Please like and subscribe for more daily history. Thanks for watching.